The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, your bottles clunk into the machine and the money appears. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various...
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you...
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? You must be kidding, right? Yeah, good one, officer. Real funny. But this establishment only takes cash. Now, do you have that cash, Mr. Novelty Check Man? Then why are you wasting my time?
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night. But they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent. A damp chill goes down your spine. When you look around, you're still in the whirling in rags.
But you have more important things to worry about. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information. It's always a challenge to describe the person you know best in the world.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even. One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. And he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The waterlock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the waterlock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Listen, sweetie, I hate to ask, but if your investigation happens to take you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely rare insect. Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae. Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodea, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves. Oh yeah. Here comes the interesting.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence, it's named the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering it with us, officer.
There's a touch of awe in the way she enunciates the creature's name.
Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it's stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes. Guess what's yours? No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then. Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. Yes, yes, impotent rage and lamentation. Let's wrap it up. Oh, you know, Apocalypse, Superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But you're too sorry to say those things. So, here we go. What? Jealous of the sorry cop? They'll be super, super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can, of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1 million. That won't happen. A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garancy and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Kubek. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of... You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. The door does not budge.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? This reality?
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective. A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead. Ask.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed. Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I would be happy to. What is a preposterously expensive education for, if not sharing? These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late. for the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
She's not gloating. It's a relieved celebration.
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes, King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective, or the remaining gentry, the beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean. The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments. Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
It was a funny time in history. They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions. Nobody did.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-estellary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days.
I've no right to be dissatisfied. This shirt is Barbara Muscova, this raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it. No, it's just... We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we'd played it right. Good question. What would you have done differently? And you would have died, most likely. Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the coalition took the city.
The cold runs down your spine. She gestures toward the waters. The wind stops. There is silence on the dark water of the Martinez Inlet.
No, almost certainly. The commune would have forced you. Such was the fate of the undecided. They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer. She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
Yes. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a centrist at heart. A real moralist, no? Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening?
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in numb 12 perfume. You are suddenly and intimately aware of it.
Steal, kill, and destroy. That they say we've been doing for over 4 decades now. Perhaps regrettably. I've had my fill for this century. In any case, I'm glad we can remain collegial despite my scaly bulk, and my perverse need to infiltrate and betray both kingdom and revolution. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery.
While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean, lights go up and motor carriages circulate the tracks.
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on the ocean.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself. And the crown on your head as you lay in the casket.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or 2. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Splat, splat.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags? Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rag. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabble in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Be my guest.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
She reaches for the photo for about half a minute in silence. Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls...
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars, I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways. A sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
You wouldn't even know where to start.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and bullet holes in the front. The speakers below are banged up and worthless.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
Hello, hello. Let me know if... Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time, perhaps.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
Yes, officer. As you see.
His manner is casual, but his speech is...
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed.
These are all boring. Boring third... Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool. UV resistant. These... Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster, Harry. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue. Yes, but they also make your soul quiver like jello. So deep.
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
Make way for the master poet. Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work. The bosses, man. Yeah, it sure ain't good for me. Or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down in his luck. If I had saved 4 myself.
The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying. The tear machine stands in the Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything. Wow. I didn't know you worked for the union, sir. Anything else I can do for you?
No, you don't work for the union. The union works for you by supplying you with cash. Blow the whole thing on speed and gin right now. Speed and gin. Great combo. Ask some local dealers, maybe.
A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She scrunches up her face into an expression of consummate adolescent skepticism.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay?
The unpromising race pupil returns. The unpromising race pupil returns. There is nothing funky about them. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Tibere Vasholian. I am not the...
You pick up on something artificial in his tone.
The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company.
Yes, it was probably nothing.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Claire is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only jammed. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Of course it does. You are a degenerate individualist and a rock and roll rebel. A pawn of international finance. But I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to the South Island race, Haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful masters of the Insulindian archipelago. We descend from... We are the future. That is... I am a descendant. The narrow streets of... No. I have heard about it on the radio. Yes.
This could have made him more open to discussing the race enigma with you.
Racists are generally not very good examples of their... I am not...
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminality.
The size of the earlobes is not a real craniometric criteria. Everyone knows.
Your earlobes are flawless, Jean-Luc.
Yes.
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time? I am not.
You could be Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. She is not amused. It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely. She looks as if pondering whether to answer.
A Nordic dance music. You wouldn't get it. Okay? You have a dictionary. That doesn't mean you get it. Let's.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
An old call box with an East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of the doomed commercial area. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier. All right, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your core. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for her to answer the call. It's cold outside, and you can hear the wind blowing into the speaker.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order? My God.
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
Wait, is she...
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone.
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Wind blows into your microphone again, crackling and echoing in the box.
Ever since I came to work here, it's been as if my mind's been wiped clean. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget about you.
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if her voice is being played off a wax cylinder. Real or not, your mirror neurons react. It feels painful to be listening to this. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people talking in the distance, but can't make out any words. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. A phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static is like a warm blanket wrapped around the sounds. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glorious and total. Her words are too cold to comprehend. She smells of sodium lights and rain streaks on car windows. Eyes like pilot lights watch. The strange and alien thought pattern ends. You're left staring at the electronic doorbell. Silence. No one's home at Fortress Accident. Silence. No one answers your call. Both cables are unplugged from the breaker box. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Someone very important. The leader of a massive on-air game built by these people. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like all of this is gone, left unrealized. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off. Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a... Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles. Some of the writing has faded with age. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Cut like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good evening, Fortress Accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat, is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. That was a question. Have you inserted it into the core? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress Accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament. Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
On an island on the river Esperance, a small woman, all skin and bones, sits in a room filled with audio equipment. Thousands of tiny lights are reflected back from her prescription lenses, like stars in the dark. Doesn't it get lonely, sitting there all by herself?
Lonely? Why would it get lonely? I get to talk to people all day.
That's why she does this.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Good. Please repeat the password. No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalk. Some of the writing has faded. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear translucent Welkins with organs. Who are all those creatures? Fantasy. You should adopt one of those Welkins as your persona. No longer one of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be it's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin. Green Welkin, Dread Welkin. Your eyes glide over 4 sections of the imposing. The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans. Call in. Outside, a cold wind wraps the building in its bosom. This old fireplace is the whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbook. Radio frequencies, it seems. UK unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Someone very important, the leader of a massive on-air game built by a conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through. Whoever decides to call in to a call, all of this is gone. Left. There's no way a little basement studio working. Nothing. It's just line.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarifies. How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's enough. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dies out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. I think I have just the right one for you.
Police colors.
Not the most original, I know, but sometimes the obvious choice is obvious because it's best. Here, catch. They're a gift from me.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it. You overthink it. Your hands can't agree what to do, and the two dice drop to the floor and scatter in opposite directions, like pearls from a broken string. The blue one disappears down the pit in the center of the...
Ah, down the drain, like your career. I apologize, officer. That comment was unnecessary. That one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay. The other one was the inverse. They were a set, you see, but now the set is broken. It's a shame. They might have brought you luck. You definitely need luck in Martinez.
Is she pitying you? Good God, she's pitying you.
Now, was there anything else?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me, what are you doing? Undressing in a stranger's place of business? Yes, it was an unbelievably bad idea.
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form. See? See? This place is cursed. Inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. I'm glad you asked. When junior researcher Olari Tal
Fuck does Kuno care?
He's on your crime scene, bossing you around. And he's been here for some time too. This is where he hangs out. You have to get more out of him. He could be useful.
No! You told him about it and now he knows your name!
The prospect of Kuno turning lame is physically painful for her.
The city's not fucking lame. You are lame. Kuno's tired of defending Rage City from... Just fuck off, alright? And fuck you too, putting Kuno on the spot like that. Kuno doesn't need to fucking explain his shit. Kuno's king. He rules here. Fuck did you want?
Explain himself? As if explaining some kind of work? Some kind of avant-garde work way ahead of its time? You must get to the bottom of this one of these days. Sadly, it's unlikely to happen today.
Kuno does...
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers. Who told you that? Fine, yeah. It looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of arseholes around here who aren't murderers. If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know, so I can forward them the repair bill. Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a... No, I don't have a key. I don't know how...
Wondering about it is, of course, exactly.
Or some boring storage space.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing. He looks at the dust on his finger and wipes it off.
Yes?
You see a heavy steel door with the cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. It leads to a side building adjacent to this one. The old building next to this.
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off?
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend. Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep
You find your hands deep.
economical, but also trendy. Look firsthand. The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed. A man who knows his style. Much respect.
Abort. These are hideous.
Damn, officer!
They're perfect for concealing your bloodshot and baggy eyes. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things on your face.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
The lieutenant is desperately searching for another handkerchief. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit matinees.
On a first-name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world. Have you got a crush on her? Aching for an opportunity to defend her honor? Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so...
She wants it to be something true and total.
This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fight. I thought I'd mix it up, you know. Summon the forces of crime and social chaos, yeah?
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
Ooh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, I can see that. Cool mutations.
The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers brush against something, soft, yet crinkly. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar. Not familiar in a good way, you might say. There's pain in there somewhere. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from Seaguy, the apricot suzerainty, and processed in Sur-le-Clay into the apricot-flavored chewing gum loved by kids of today and yesterday. Something about it.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to it? Oh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner. Does anyone in a city like this?
If there's pain about any particular home she's lost, she's buried it deep, fortified herself against it.
It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never. Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
Give me a moment.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. A poor communard, from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant?
It's generally easier to do. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11. This door is made of metal and appears to be. No one answers. Looks like he isn't home. You.
Trying to sneak up on me.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. You have no clue. It's so many walls all over Martinez. Where the front of this quarterly journal features a lot. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct. After rifling the pages with your thumb, the magazine is divided into several sections. International development. This section includes a long, tedious critique. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border. Something about bear wrestling. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You're not even sure where most of these countries are. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table, it takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und why they decided to title this one section in Valda is beyond you. It evokes a sense of recognition and fellowship among those privileged enough to, as you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tourney. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines: Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudonyms. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism. You flip back to the front of the magazine, the table of contents. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies in the coalition. Why do communists love puerile insults? And they wonder why they're always being left out in the cold. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures but like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors. You flip back to the front of the magazine, the table of contents. The man from Heimdall stares out at you. The story opens in media red. By nightfall, only the man from Heimdall and his blood brother, noble 9 Tiribald. The man from Heimdall bellows over the army of flesh and bone. It is physically impossible, and with deadly finesse, his twin blades scissor the neck. A few chapters later, the man from Heimdall and this book, the Northmen, fight. The man from Heimdall extracts a high price. The man from Heimdall stares at you.
Gendarmerie. You found me.
His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant streets and motorways flashing like diamonds. It feels like a Friday. He seems to be in a good mood tonight. And his shirt is still unbuttoned.
Beautiful. So tell me, are you here to make things right again? Then I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighbor...
Besides, I've got to run.
He's going to leave you alone again. That's sad. Something tells you you're never going to talk to an individual this cool or mysterious ever again.
To the city. It's a beautiful night.
A man on high heels stumbles out of a basement club, music blasting over the entire district. It's chilly, and as the...
We'll talk. Just not tonight. Take care, all right?
And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him.
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
His hands are clean and well manicured. This is a man who knows the importance of appearances.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Sur la Clé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
Hanging? What a drag. He seems like a cultured gentleman. You should ask him about the finer things.
I got it from the head of the Samaran delegation on my trip to Lomantang. It's made from a special charcoal-colored bamboo. It's an emblem of the formal normalization of our diplomatic relations.
He's alluding to the decade-long war of independence, while deftly brushing aside the complex causes behind the conflict.
That's really all I can tell you about it. The coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here. Yes, as I said before, I am a commissioner from Sur la Clé working for the Institute of Price Stabilité. This is one of the main projects of the Moral Inter.
Wait, there isn't actually an Institute of Price Stability, is there? Or maybe there is. God, It's impossible to understand whether someone from the moral intern is joking or not.
It is the most important thing. It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stability is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment, which is essential for maintaining the social stability. Take your daily bread, par exemple. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, it becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stability works to keep inflation just below 2%. But not too far below, no. Too below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%. The coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stability. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet? A sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'être of the moral intern. But oh, I don't have my leaflets on me today. That's too bad. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the moral intern's commitment to transparency. Whatever you wish, officer. I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me.
He holds out his hands and blossoms his fingers, like a drama teacher setting the scene.
No. I mean, it was so strange. I could barely believe what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this. I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8?
Sound familiar? That matches the prints you observed at the scene.
That's a giant you're describing. No, they were all quite human, as far as I could tell. I went back inside. Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man. All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly.
That doesn't quite comport with what you know. Don't forget the lady driver.
It's possible, officer, but I cannot say with certainty. It was very dark, you must remember. I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them. And I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent. Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add. All I can say is that it was late. My watch. Yes, now I remember. It was 30 minutes past midnight, give or take. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM. Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the Insuline Isola? Au contraire. It's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too. I'm all ears, officer. A moment. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak. It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militia.
That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night.
Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space. Was there anything else? Of course. I'm glad I...
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, now without the expression. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's yours. The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bud. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep, you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
And there's a lot of it, ever present in your organs. It's like every one of them has their own nasty song to sing. That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately. Every cell in your body is moaning in agony, asking, what did we ever do to you?
And why might that be the case? What lava lights on such a bloated corpse to be?
Oh yeah, baby. Frame your suffering as a masterpiece. Only you're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that?
Oh, baby boy, you're already in the other place. There's no nourishment for you tonight. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe if you know, like, took a lot of drugs before you go to sleep, that'd do the trick. Maybe if you cracked the damn thing, then you'd feel satisfied and tired, holding the picture puzzle in your hands, complete. Maybe if you weren't so hard on yourself.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Put on your prettiest face for the masses.